Okay, hey guys, hopefully this is gonna work. I actually think that I just went on my personal page. So this is Pause with Elizabeth Elenor, and yes, I'm in the right group now. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. So today we're going to be talking about dating a player. So tell me in the chat, how are you today? I tell you what, I thought I was okay until I started doing that. Awesome. I'm here live. Awesome. Okay. So, dating a player. I love to hear all the things. Tell me all the things in the chat. Drop something in the chat and let me know where you're at. Are you single and you're dating? Are you just watching and, you know, that's something that, you know, like, oh my gosh, those dating apps are crazy and I don't want to go there. I've got to tell you, as an energetic woman, as someone that, you know, feels energy, even just going on those dating apps, that it just feels, hey, Irene, it just feels sticky and yucky. There's a real heaviness in those dating apps, which is a real shame, because there's quality people out there that are looking for love and wanting support and all of the things. And where do you find those people if you're not, you know, you're not someone that wants to go to, you know, the pub or, you know, like the usual places? Where do you find these people, right? And so dating a player is a very interesting experience. And the reason why, you know, first of all, I want to ask you, have you ever had the experience of, you know, meeting someone that's a bit of a player that really isn't interested in being in a committed relationship or even checking out to see if this could be a possibility? They're just interested in getting you in bed, right? They've got no reason other than, I want some pleasure myself and I'm going to do everything I possibly can to get that from you, even if it means I'm going to lie and make out that I'm someone else, right? Have you had that experience? Drop in the chat. I would love to hear, because one of the reasons I'm doing this is because a client of mine has just had this experience. Now, I will preface this with that she is a pretty strong, powerful woman. And so there was, you know, she handled herself well, and she's been around the dating scene for a while. So, you know, it's not something that, you know, ruined her for life with every other date or anything. But, and she picked it up really quickly. But it was a bit of a story because, you know, she was on the dating apps and, you know, matched up with this guy and looked at his profile and you know, went and checked out all of the things, you know, like checked out his Facebook profile and wherever she could find him. And he looked like a pretty nice guy, right? And, you know, he had photos with his kids and all the things, and he told her that he had kids and he was doing all the right things. And it got to the point where she was like, well, let's meet. So this is the first thing that I feel like maybe like this is the red flag for me, the very first one. Now, if we remember, on here we're looking for conscious relationships, right? We're looking for, you know, if you're someone that's looking for your divine partner, you want to fall in love with the love of your life and to attract that person, then there's things that I feel myself, and this is, you know, my group and my personal opinion, and I've got the results, so I can tell you from personal experience, right? I met the love of my life walking down the beach. You know, I was the only one there, I thought, doing a Facebook Live of the ocean and how big the waves were, and he walks past, right? For those that haven't heard my story, it was a beautiful experience because, you know, Tim walks past, he waved at me, I was doing a live. On his end, he went all the way, he was halfway down the beach, He came, you know, turned back around, went, who on earth is that? I want to know who that is. His higher self, he kept on walking. His higher self was saying, go back and talk to her. He finally listened. He came back. We started chatting, went for a walk. Long story short, we ended up being in adjacent streets, was just completely connected. Friends first, you know. Here I am, 25 years as a healer, and his last name is Makepeace. Like, what are the odds, right? Like, you can't tell me that spirit doesn't exist. But there were signs with what happened with Tim, and beautiful, empowered men, or, you know, like, depending, whatever your partner is, there's signs that show that these people are, this person is actually committed and is interesting. All good, Jennifer. Catch you soon. Is interested in you and wants to find out more about you. When you're in alignment with yourself, you have this energy that's magnetically attracting those that are around you, right? Including that partner that you're looking for. So the first sign with my girlfriend was that they decided that they were going to catch up and see about going on a date. Well, she went down to him. So she was living an hour and a half away from Sydney, and she did the track down to see him in his area, right? Now, they did decide, they'd made a decision already that they were going to, she was going to stay over, but in her mind, she was not going to sleep with him. Don't know if she explained that to him. Maybe she did, I'm not sure. But she went all the way down, so there was no mutual, hey, let's go halfway. It was like, I'm putting all the effort in and I'm going to go down to see you. So he booked the restaurant, 5-star restaurant, beautiful dinner, cost over $200 for the dinner. Get to the end and he's forgotten his wallet or his credit card, right? Next sign, 2, in my opinion. Forgets his credit card, and so he says, I've got money, cash at home. I'll give you the money when we get back to my place. So they go back. She doesn't sleep with him. He doesn't give her the money. The next morning, he says, I'll put it into your account. Transfer it over. And that's when she realizes that actually he's not who he is, who he says he is, and that she's not going to see that money again. And she didn't, right? I'm sure that she's not the only one on here that that's had that sort of experience. There's a lot of players out there that are really not interested in anything but taking energy from you and leaving you and dumping you with it, right? And so how do you deal with these things? It's being a conscious woman or a magical woman is really about seeing the signs from the very start. And it's actually about holding strong with who you are. You know, one of the things that I teach in my Awaken the Lioness 12-week immersion is the ability to connect with energy, right? And it's a process called the 3 powers, right? Power, powerless, and empowerment. And when you can recognize where you sit, you can see what is actually around you and how energy is being taken from you. Or you might be overpowering somebody else, or, you know, your beliefs may be overpowering somebody else's belief. And really where you want to be is you want to be in a place of empowerment where you're aware of energy, you're seeing the subtleties of it, you're observing it, right? Instead of allowing it to pull you, take from you, or you're pushing your energy and manipulating somebody else. when you're in that place of empowerment, you're more likely to see these games that people play on the dating scene. And this is why energetically in these dating apps, there's so much heaviness. It's like a cesspool, you know, like it really doesn't feel good. And that is the energy that you're in when you're on those, like, you know, I get it. There's not many places. If we were just looking for a partner and going out there trying to find someone, these dating apps are one of the only ways that you can do it these days, because when you're out there in the world, one, if you don't drink, like, you know, or you're not a big drinker, like I drink a glass of wine every so often, but I don't go to pubs and look for men, or I wasn't looking for men back then in pubs. Where else do you, or nightclubs and all of those things, right? Especially as you get a little bit older. But also, when you're out there in the world, it's not as easy as it used to be. Way back, there used to be rings on fingers, so you'd sort of get a bit of a rough idea. But these days, people check you out and they might be already with someone, right? And then you've got to, you know the signs. What are the signs if someone's checking you out? And let me know in the chat, do you have a little bit of a challenge with working out the signs and seeing whether someone's interested in you or not? And what are your thoughts? Are you someone that goes, I'm going to go up and talk to this person, to this guy, or are you someone that wants them to come to you, right? Because these days, that's another thing. Guys feel really uncomfortable coming up to you because they don't know. Like there's all of these unknowns, you know, like there's no real structure to the way society works with all this stuff anymore. And so if you don't feel comfortable with yourself and confident enough, then that's another thing that can happen, right? You can miss these chances. And so dating a player, there's a few signs. Now, first of all, the first thing that you want to do is you want to recognize what is it that you really want in a relationship. Because you might be the one that's playing, like, and if that's what is for you, then go for it. And you know, there is no one here to say that you're wrong and that you shouldn't be doing that, because that can be fun too if that's what rocks your boat and that's where you're at. I've been in situations in my life, you know, at times when I was with my kids, you know, I got out of a pretty intense relationship and it was, you know, emotionally abusive at the end. He ended up being an alcoholic, all of the things. And I spent 10 years by myself, new mum, 2 kids, didn't know what I was doing, very, very shy, still very powerless to, you know, all the things that were going on in my life. But then I started spiritually waking up, and so I was, you know, I spent 10 years by myself, getting to know myself and getting to know my kids, and really becoming the best mum I could. I started my own business at that time. I was working out what this spiritual thing was that was happening to me, all the things. I wasn't ready for a relationship, but that didn't mean that I didn't want sex, I tell you. Like, I needed to have that opportunity to let go every so often, you know. And so, you know, at one stage, I was the woman that was like, you know, I'm interested, let's go and enjoy ourselves for the night, but then see you later, and I don't particularly want you hanging around. So, you know, it depends on the season, the time and the season of your life and where you're at as to what's going on in your life. But if you're someone that's really looking for a partner, you're someone that's going, I'm ready for a divine partner. I'm ready for someone to spend my life with. I'm ready for that intimate connection and that companionship. If you're someone that really wants that, put a love heart in the comments, because I'd love to see how many women are ready for that type of commitment, right? If that's someone that you are, then there's little signs. There's little signs to show that there's a player in your midst. And some of those things have got to do with, hey Heather, lovely to see. Beautiful, beautiful that you're wanting that commitment, right? And so there's little signs when you are on these dating apps. Now, personally, one of the things that I teach in my Calling in the One program is to go on those dating apps knowing that actually is just as a practice to start standing in your authority, start standing in your empowerment. Going onto those dating apps knowing that you're in control, you're the one that's making the decisions, and stepping into the woman that's becoming self-sovereign and making the decisions, knowing that there's no expectations that you're actually going to find anyone on those things, but it's more for an exercise in confidence, right? Being able to swipe left if they don't look like your type of person, right? Being able to swipe right, I think it is, if you want to start having a conversation. And because that one can be just as tricky. Swiping right can be way more trickier than swiping left when you don't want to be with that person because you see something that doesn't align. But when there's something that does align, it can get a little bit scary, right? If you're someone that's not quite confident in who you are. And so having that opportunity to have a conversation first, knowing that it's just you and them on the phone, and that you can and stay on the dating app, so that you don't have to worry about changing numbers and all that sort of stuff. But there are a few signs. So one of them is, and this is where it can be tricky. One of them is that they don't ask any questions about you. Now, that one can be really tricky because people don't know how to communicate these days. So when you find someone that's not asking questions, it can be a little bit tricky. One, it can be that they're shy and they don't actually know how to communicate. The other one is that you might be looking at a narcissist, right? You might be just starting a conversation with someone that is all about themselves, and that can be a sign, just to be wary of, right? But if you're noticing that you're asking lots of questions and you're getting one statement answers and no questions back to find out a bit more about you, is that the sort of person that you want to be in a relationship with, right? Now, it could be that they are also having challenges on text message. Some people aren't big on that and they might want to be on the phone, and sometimes people don't like being on the phone either and they want to be in person. So you've got to play around a little bit and just make sure that you're not being too strict where you're going, oh, they're not asking any questions, they're a narcissist, bang, smash, leave them alone, and off you go, because you might have missed an opportunity with someone that's heartfelt and gentle but doesn't know how to bring across that empowered state from that place first up. So, sometimes you just want to play the game a little bit to start with. The next thing, though, is when you do get into a conversation and you do notice that there's a bit of a backwards and forwards, and you notice that there's questions being asked about you, and, what's your favorite color, or what sort of music do you like, or where do you like to hang out, and, getting to know if there's going to be some sort of compatibility. And you get to that place where it's time to have the first date. You want to know that the person that you're going to be spending some time with, that's interested in you, is interested in reciprocal energy, right? Now, I remember when I met a guy on a dating app and we were 3 hours away from each other. And he suggested, and I agreed, and I love the idea, that we go halfway. So we met each other halfway for the first date and we had lunch together. Now, he then paid for that meal. Now, again, this is a belief system, whether you think that, you want to pay half and be equal in that, or if you're the type of woman that says, I think that the other person should be paying first, or whatever. It's all of those things are you know, personal preference, right? But you want to know that there's some sort of reciprocal energy, that there's half, you know, like that other person is putting in some effort as well. If that's not the case, that's another sign, in my opinion, that there's something else potentially going on. And you just need to be aware. Feel into your energy. How does it feel sitting with this person? Now, I got to tell you, one of the things about meeting Tim on the beach, it really was like the fairy tales. It really was like the movies. Because if you remember in the movies, they don't just fall in love instantly at first sight. For me, when he came back and we were talking, I actually didn't take any notice of who he was. I just saw it was a guy on the beach, right? We started talking really comfortably from the very start. We started going for a walk. He was telling me all the things about what was going on in his family, and I didn't like some of the stuff that was going on in his family, so I was saying no, not interested. But we did notice that we both loved taking photos of sunsets and sunrises and the moon and all the things, and so that's how we connected. About, like, I told him about a particular photo that I had taken at a camping site. There was beautiful sunset. And so I said, I'll send that photo to you. So we exchanged phone numbers, and that's how it started. But one of the things that I recognized 3 months later, or whatever it was, that it was one of the things about our relationship was that I felt completely comfortable and safe with him from the very start. There was no moments of feeling inadequate. Like, even like my body is a body for birthing. Like, I've definitely got those, you know, hourglass figure hips. It took me 2.5 hours to birth my children. I got up and went, is that all? Can I go home? And so, you know, I don't have that model figure. And his ex-wife, he was with her for 20 years. She's got a model figure, right? So I could have felt really uncomfortable about that. But I felt comfortable with him from the very start. And he put the effort in. He wanted to get to know me. He messaged me back. He was asking me questions. He's the one that said, do you want to go for a walk and watch the sunrise together the next, you know, a couple of days later or whatever it was. He put in energy to say, hey, I'm interested, right? So when you find someone that's a player, it's very easy to notice when the energy is not reciprocal. There's no give and take. They are maybe luring you into giving them something. They might be asking you questions, but from a place of, again, trying to make out that they're a certain person. But if their actions don't show the same, you can pick it up pretty quickly, right? So as with my friend, you know, she'd gone all the way down to the restaurant, an hour and a half. He didn't go, you know, very far at all from his place. And he didn't remember his credit card, like on the first date. Like, there's something going on there, right? And then he told a lie and said he had money at home, and he didn't. And then he said he'd transfer the money, and he didn't. So straight away, lucky for her, she was a very strong woman. She picked it up straight away and said, I'm not interested, you know. Like, when he said that he was going to transfer the money, she just knew straight away. But then there's women out there that then move into the space of thinking that there's something wrong with them. The only thing wrong is that you allowed yourself to be in that situation because you didn't make the choices to stand strong with who you are and make decisions that you're not interested in people like that are playing those sort of games. If that's what you're, you know, if you're wanting a relationship. So I'm telling you, ladies, I want you to know that the more you decide that I'm strong in who I am, this is what I want, and I'm not going to deviate from this, I'm not going to put up with anything less. The more you stay focused, the more the universe is going to conspire with you to bring all of these pieces together. And next thing, you're going to the beach and someone walks past, right? The more you stay in who you are, then those people that are authentic and align with your same true values and morals and beliefs will energetically align. So it's all about staying true to yourself. Now, that can be a bit tricky if you've got a few things that you need to clean up, right? When you've got stuff that's in your auric field, beliefs, emotions, past lives, generational disappointment, heartaches, all of those things, you know, affairs, all those things that might be stuck in your DNA from generations past. We've got a lot of stuff that's in our, you know, soul that's tethered and weighing us down. So when you're in that space, it can be a bit challenging to really line up. But these are the things that we work on if we're looking for a conscious relationship and we're looking to be an awakened magical woman, right? To set that intention that these are the things that I would love to be able to clear and release. And releasing them can be easy as, you know, setting the intention, or doing things like recoding, which is what I do, to clear it from the source, and that collapses time. When you're doing things like hypnosis and mindset, it works, but it just takes a long time because you're working with just two levels of consciousness. You're working with conscious and unconscious. You're not working with that higher part of yourself and the origin of where it happened from. So you're incrementally pulling away these beliefs instead of getting to the core of where the belief came from in the first place. So what would it feel like to be in that higher vibration, right? To be in that space where you're really, truly just attracting all of that beautiful energy to you, where you are magnetically aligned, and all you've got to do is make the decision to go to the beach, or to do what, you know, go down the street, or, you know, walk to the park, or look, you know, maybe you might meet them on a dating app, right? You never know. Some people do. Some people, when you're magnetically aligned or energetically aligned, you find that beautiful partner on those places as well, regardless. Even through all the mud and the gunk, you can find those beautiful people in there as well. So if that's something that you're really interested in, and you're saying, yes, I'm serious about this, and you want to clear that energy out of the way, then just put a yes please in the comments here, and we can get in, have a chat, and so that we can support you to really step into your sovereignty, to really move into that alignment. Now, even if you're someone that's just sort of waking up, you're just starting to learn about chakras and power and energy and all of those things, we've got your back. We've got some, you know, different things that we can work through. There's different layers to energy, and it's simple when you have the knowledge and the commitment to yourself, right? The motivation. Because, oh my gosh, there's so many muggles out there that don't have any understanding of any of this, and the world's chaotic. So we want to wake up as many women as possible. And as I was saying on I did a Facebook Live on Friday last week, I've got this song. I'm not really into Beyonce much, but Beyonce's got this song called I Was Here. And if you haven't heard it, go onto YouTube, The one that's Vivo, Vevo, it's her doing it in front of like a live audience of, I can't remember what it was, and like it's some gala or something that she's at, but there's this whole massive screen behind her and some amazing images. As I was here, I lived, I loved, I did, I've done everything that I wanted. Is more than I thought it would be. I will leave my mark so that everyone will know that I was here. So if you want to be I was here, throw I was here in the comments, because that's the type of thing that magical women are ready for, right? Take care, lovelies. I think, Heather, we've actually got a call today, so we can talk more about that today. So take care, ladies. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will catch you soon.